Okay, I'm finally starting some work on the framing of the goat barn here. This floor frame's only been nailed together for like 3 months. But I finally got the sawmill back going and it seems like everything's going good, so I've been sawing out dimensional lumber like crazy. So I got this first wall framed up. It's 12 foot long, 8 foot high. I'm doing everything nominal, just like you'd build a house. So it is 8 foot sill to sill, double sill plate for the top here, 16-inch centers on the studs, and then I've nailed this angle brace here across as a anti-racking basically, so that as I stand the wall up, I'm gonna try to do this by myself. I got my helper right here, but otherwise it's me by myself. I've put kick plates over here at the bottom, and I've got 2 cross braces that as I stand the wall up, there's just one nail holding in there that should pivot, and the cross braces should stay hanging down. So hopefully I can get this wall up and held long enough that I can get it secured with the angle braces, and then I'll go through and put more nails on the base plate and put some screws in it too. But let's see if I can't get this stood up and done. Don't touch it.
Right up there.
Don't touch it.
I'm not.
All right, let's see how this goes. It's probably gonna be a total disaster if I can even pick it up myself.
This better. Oh, that's really cool.
Stupid post. It's just perfectly in the wrong spot.
Why did it not get me up?
I got hung up. I'm getting it.
It's making it wide. It's making it
Look
wide.
at that, Caroline. How cool is that, honey?
Oh, that's good. It makes light. It makes light.
It did make it light out here, didn't it?
It's really cool. It's cool.
All right. So while that's holding itself up, beauty of a nail gun.
It's up there. It's up high.
It is up high.
I can't reach it.
Nope. That's really tall, isn't it?
I'm not big. I'm not big. I'm not big.
Caroline, back up, please.
Why?
Because that could fall on you. Get my level. See if we can't. It's like an old-fashioned barn raising with a crew of 1 here. 1 and a half.
That's a big one. That's a big barn. That's a big barn. That's a big barn.
Big barn.
How big is that barn?
Wow, that's pretty well level too.
What's this?
Man, set up on the edge where I like it too.
What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Still good. Ow, son of a gun, blackberries. That's done. Let's see how this one did, because I just eyeballed it. Yeah, it needs to go a little further. Ew, nasty goat. Which one was that? The bluebell? Nice. I should say nailed it. Literally. Nailed it. Well, it doesn't look half bad. I'll show you what my wife's gonna fuss at me about, and I'm gonna have to tell her it's okay because it's a goat barn. It's not practicing my framing skills. Never claimed to be a framer. This hangs over just a tad, and it's hanging over here just a tad. Well, let's see how it looks on the other end. As long as it's not too shy on the other end, it's fine. Oh yeah, it's too shy. Not hanging over anyway. So what'll happen is it's going to be all lapboard siding anyway, and yeah, I'll figure out some way to fix it. She's going to fuss at me that it's not oh, well, you know what it's going to be. This wall here will stick out that extra little bit to kind of overhang this gap where this south wall does not, and then I can just shim this with a 1x if I need to, just to kind of flush up the walls. But structurally, it's not a concern. I know it's not pretty, I know it's not perfect, and I fully expect some hardcore framers out there to give me grief for it, but it's built out of lumber that I sawed for free off my own property. Actually, lumber that I sawed with my own mill from logs that I was paid to knock down, and built with the help of my lovely little daughter here, one of them. And I put it up myself, and I'm doing it myself. So that's what matters to me. Just labor, materials are basically free, and I'm doing it myself. I'm not gonna lie, this is the first time I've ever actually framed anything. I grew up doing some general framing on the house I grew up in. We put up a wall here and there, but I never really paid attention. I was more the nail getter back then. So now it's on me. But that cross brace did what it was supposed to do for anti-racking. All right, wall number 2 is up. I know you guys didn't get the action footage, but you didn't want it, I promise you. Kids were all screaming, and they still are. We had a storm roll through this morning, ripped the shade cloth down, but that actually worked out really well, because or else it would have been in the way if we were standing the wall up. So I guess now that the walls are temped up, I could actually just drape the shade cloth back over wall to wall. Anyway, you can see we framed in the door on this one here. It's roughed in at 82 by 38, so it should fit a 36 by 80 door. That's the plan. We wanted a good wide door for walking goats and stuff through. And you can see it's off-centered. So it's off-centered such that on the left-hand side over there, on the opposite side of the door, it's just the right length that we should be able to put a stack of feed sacks right inside the door and have them up against the wall. And then on this closer side, it's 72 inches. So that'll give us all sorts of room to put the milk stand in there. And then on the back south wall, there'll be 2 6x6 birthing pins. So you can kind of start to get an idea of the layout now. We've got to get the east and west walls up. Those are each going to have 2 windows in them. So I'll have to figure out the framing on those. And hopefully we'll get those banged out and nailed up there in the next couple days. Okay, well there it is with the 4th wall up. Hopefully it all makes sense to you guys by now. As far as the door being right here, opposite windows on either side, so we get the east and the west sun, but we don't get the southern sun, which of course we wouldn't really anyway because it's all shaded. But we decided to keep that back wall just solid anyway. That's where the birthing pins are going to be. It'll let us put shelves up above or whatever, not to worry about the windows as well. I mean, could have put windows on all the walls, I guess, but that's just a cost. So these 4 big windows should be more than enough to give us plenty of natural light. But that's it for the primary framing of the walls. Now I've got to figure out how to stand up the roof at some point. We're just doing a standard, just a raftered roof, 3/12 pitch, so I'll get to working on that. But I did want to mention on standing up these walls, I'm not a framer by any means. I'm not a pro framer, whatever that means. But I did have to go back and do some rework because I stood them up, I braced them, here and there. But I also was nailing them together as I went, and I was checking level as far as the wall leaning in or out on the whole wall. I didn't really check the level on end to end because when I stood them up, always a phone call from a stinking salesman. I only answered it because my work cell rang and I ignored it, and then immediately after that this phone went off. So I thought maybe it was something important. Nope, just trying to sell me some air conditioning, which would be nice right now. Anyway, so yeah, I wasn't thinking to check lean like this way because as I stood them up, I had a brace on them to keep them from racking. So I thought, and I squared them before I stood them up. So I thought, well, they should be level and square. But of course they weren't. So I had to actually go back through when I stood up this final 4th wall here. It was obviously sticking out at the bottom like it is. And then at the top, this wall here, the west wall, was actually past the end of this wall. I mean, it was just glaringly out of square, and you can still, it still is a little bit, but that's shimmable, if shimmable is a word. The way it was not shimmable. So now it's at least shimmable, and more square. So I had to cut all the nails that were holding this joint together, and I had to go through and cut all the nails holding that opposite corner together with the Sawzall, which, lucky these are cheap, soft little nails, and Sawzall metal blade did real quick work of it, just ran it down the seam. So I had to cut all the nails and then push the top of this wall over that way because it was not level. So I pushed the top of the wall to the east, got it squared up and leveled with the two opposing walls. And going around checking everything now, it all looks really good. So the walls are up. Now to figure out what I need to do for the rafters and keep it rolling.